the foosball game. South Florida going off. I did not expect them to handle San Antonio like they've been doing tonight. Watching this game, this is a long-time rivalry from the days back in the FCS when they were in Montana's and North Dakota's division, because they're both powerhouses from there. With what was his name again? Played wide receiver up in Canada for years for Toronto. Was the quarterback? I can't remember his name. I see his face, and he got rid of the dreads, the cornrow dreads, when he played in Canada. He played wide receiver in Canada. The quarterback for when they beat Michigan, I can't remember his name. That's a bummer. I hate when I do that. So I see the kid, right? He's a nice kid. In App State, and they won 2 or 3 in a row before they moved up. And same with Southern, Georgia Southern. Okay, and then I was sitting there going, what is that young man's name? The other kid I remember, okay, because he had the name of another, Adrian Peterson. Do you guys know who Adrian Peterson is? Okay. Minnesota Vikings or anything? Well, Georgia Southern had an Adrian Peterson, who's a very fine running back that was deaf. Okay. And he played football. He was a star running back for Georgia Southern. Really good. Okay. Very fast, strong, a lot like Jesse Chapman. Most people don't know who Jesse Chapman is. Jesse Chapman, San Diego Chargers, Eastern Washington Eagles. 5'7" or 8", 215, 20 pounds. Fast, strong, big thighs, hard to tackle. Yeah, that's the reason why he played in the NFL, right? He's a beast. He's hard to deal with. And NAU had to deal with him. It's like, oh my crap, that kid's good. Yeah. Was it Fred Saliano was his quarterback? Yeah, and stuff. But yeah. And so I was like, I know my players, I know my teams. When I was a kid, I used to get all the magazines and stuff. And because where other people, USC, this and that. Yeah, you see that on TV all the time, whatever, whatever. Okay, but I was from Las Cruces in New Mexico State. So I went and looked at the other teams that were like us. Southern Mississippi, because I was watching the Maction games that recorded on here. And University of Miami, Ohio. I remember when they were the Redskins. Okay, that was their name, was the Redskins. Okay, they were not always called the Red Hawks. They were called the Redskins for the longest time, just like the Washington professional football team. They were called the Miami University of Miami, Ohio. They just called the Redskins. Just like Arkansas State was the Indians. Northeast Louisiana, which is Louisiana Monroe, was also the Indians. Adams State was also the Indians. Okay, we all know that, So they weren't always the Grizzlies. They used to be called the Indians, and the CSU Pueblo used to be known as Southern Colorado Indians. Okay, they were also the Indians, which was interesting. Well, there was a lot of Indian activity down there. There's a lot of people that so it made sense. I do not know why Fort Lewis changed their name from the Raiders to the Skyhawks. I can't tell you why. But I'm certain when I was a kid that Fort Lewis was the Raiders. Not the Raiders, like, I don't know what kind of Raiders they were, but, different, they have the same type of logo or thing for the LA Raiders, but they were called the Raiders. Okay. So, because, like we have the Red Raiders of the, so I'm sitting there watching all this stuff, and I was always the type of person that was where Patrick had his flags and is this like Sheldon and all that. With me, it was small college teams. What was that guy's name? I remember I think his name was it Bodie or Boone? Was it Bodie? I can't remember. He was a running back for Montana State the year before Kelly, and he was a good running back though. But I remember Dave Dickinson when he played, and the Grizzlies colors were silver, gold, and copper. They didn't used to be back when Dave Dickinson was the quarterback. They had like gold jerseys with copper jerseys and gold helmets. And like with copper or brown with the Grizz thing on the side, silver, gold, and copper. Yeah. That used to be University of Montana's colors. They changed. Some schools have been like that, but yeah, when I was a kid, University of Montana's uniforms were silver, gold, and copper. Okay, they were not that wine and silver. Okay, they were different uniforms, very different. As yeah, I remember the Dave Dickinson era and those uniforms and stuff. Yeah, I also was particularly fond and followed them when they had a man named Michael Ray Richardson play basketball for them. He had gotten in trouble with alcohol and with the law and stuff like that, and the University of Montana gave him a second chance. He was like from New York, and he turned out to be a lot like Lewis Lloyd at Drake University. So I was always a student of Division II Johnny Bailey. Texas A&I is the same place where Darrell Green went to school. There's a guy named Johnny Bailey who's like the equivalent of the Peyton Award because it was before Walter Payton, his background, Walter Payton's time. But yeah, he was the player of the year in Division II. And yeah, so they're the Javelinas, right? Okay, so yeah, no, I paid it. I'd get the magazines and I'd read about all Butch Douglas, Southern Colorado, their star guard, when Harold Rare, and we played against, and our big rival was against Jim Pires, who my sister went to high school with. Jim Pires at Grand Canyon. Yeah, he was from Rincon High School, and he ended up going to school at Grand Canyon University in Phoenix. And I played with Tony Lamb, and I'm trying to think of some of the other guys he played with. They always beat us. Well, us was, me and Mom got the silver paper and followed the Mustangs. Daryl Ransom and Harold Ware's brother, and Virgil Jenkins, and Donald Washington, Johnny Portillo, and Bruce Bunyer. Was that the guy that was a senior when they lost to Canyon in silver? And Harold was a sophomore, and Harold said, "We'll get him next year." And Bruce said, "I started to cry because I'm not going to be here next year. This was my last year, and I really love these guys. This was so much fun. It's one of the best parts of my life was playing basketball with these guys." And everybody's like, "Really?" It's like, yeah, they remember during 9/11 when the guy from SportsCenter, I can't remember what his name was, the one that Affleck pretended to be on Keith Olbermann, right? Okay, well, Mr. Precious Perfect, the cat, and that's what Amy named Smitty. It was Mr. Precious Perfect. It was Mrs. Precious Perfect, but yeah. But when he said that, after 9/11, this guy was working on the stuff. The guy and Keith came up and was so nice to him, and he started asking about the Eagles. And the guy goes, "But these people just died." He goes, "Yeah, I know, but I can't think about that. It's too hard. So how do you think the Eagles are going to do?" And Oberman went, "Oh, shit. These people need this. It's like an escape from reality." Yeah, it's like Escape to Witch Mountain. Oh, but the Buddha's not here. I know. But you can be like the Buddha. Okay, and enlighten yourself and no longer do advertising for money for people that hold stuff hostage to feel successful because they have lots of make-believe, stupid, pendejo, fuck money, ¿Tú entiendes? Okay. The main thing I was thinking about today, the store was different a lot. I know what's different about the store, guys. And me and one of the people at Hobby Lobby who works there talked about it. The snappers aren't there. Okay, the people on Snap, the people that work real hard but are poor and understand how hard it is and how abused we are. Because it's not that they don't work. It's just, so all the people that want to live the Lord's Prayer and know that it's right, they're not at the store. They're all at the Community of Hope and at the soup kitchens and at the donation centers and Salvation Army. Yeah, they're not at Walmart. Okay? So there's less of the people going, "We're going to live the Lord's Prayer. Let's do this." There's less of them. So it's like, I miss my snappers, man. It's pretty fucked up, man. I look around and that my snappers are gone, man. Yeah, man, what happened? Well, we love our nanas and our nanus, and we don't just get into gang fights. You know, we're going to night school and taking Spanish and getting a B, right? All my snappers are gone, man. So it's uh, I don't look at life like, I don't sit there and say, oh, I got a plan for this, plan for that. I'm a lot like Gustavo, 3 days at a time. Pretty much, I look at things I need to do and then, okay, you better get that done. Okay. And then things like, oh, well, next year, I don't look at that. I look at what needs to be done right now. And if it can wait, you know, and optimals, we're living the Lord's Prayer, and people are building an Adobe house. If we're still having houses here where this is with these utilities, and there's no extortion, exploitation, there's no cash cropping, and all Harley Davidsons at 3:00 in the morning are like, "What the fuck is wrong with you? I'm an American hero. Fuck you." Be an apostle, or I'm going to kick you in the dick so hard you'll never be revving your goddamn motorcycle and driving up and down the road with it for 30 minutes at 2:00 in the fucking morning, asshole. You're welcome. Okay. I live in a town of people that think they're badass. Yeah, they're the heroes of the world. They sacrifice all so we can be free. And it's like, you do know that, okay. The redemption of the Gospels, as we perceive it, has already been attained and achieved by Ralph and Mary's boy. His name is Earl. Yeah, I've not taken my talents to South Beach, no. I sit here right in Lawrence's old office chair with the one wheel that doesn't work too good because I had to shove it in there because they had a broken wheel on it. But I took it home because Dad had just got his first hip operation from it comes from stress and injuries and degenerative things because of chemical toxins and poisonings. I have similarities in that, but that's not gonna. I keep telling my body I did not do this to me. Okay, all the chemical toxins and the abuse was put into me by abusive people. I'm doing everything possible that I can to stop it immediately, and I intend on survive, stop, eliminate abuse, and recover. I explain that to the plants. I explain that to myself. I explain that to everybody in prayer. I explain that to everyone and anyone that will listen that I can, especially me. Okay? Because we are what we do, and we can do, if you say you're going to fail, then you're going to fail. If you say you're going to, quote, succeed, you're going to succeed. And I'm not talking about failure or success. I'm talking about love. And I am the living embodiment of the Lord's Prayer. And I love you. Okay? So that's how I think. I don't think like other people think. People don't plan to fail, they fail to plan. I don't have a plan. Forgive debt and trespass, love one another, turn a face, and do that which is right. Okay, you can plan to succeed or fail to love, but your success is not love. I am. Okay? Hallelujah, brother. Okay, do you understand? Oh, I was watching a little stuff. They were interviewing Kalani. I'm glad Kalani bought back the old BYU colors. I didn't like the navy. I like the royal blue. I like the old Lavelle Edwards blue. And I like the blue helmets. So I like that. I like the old school. I didn't like the navy. It's because they do dark colors for marketing. And Kalani go, no, let's do the old, Jim McMahon. Yeah. I totally agree. But the blue helmets, I like even better. Okay. I like the blue. I like blue, And so, yeah, I'm glad he brought the old traditional colors back instead of the navy because it was more kip in color and cool and tough. And it's just, no, it's the blue that, it's our blue. Let's embrace our blue and remember what we do and the colors that we do it in, right? It's like, yeah, don't go for marketing. Go for, the kids that got out there and tried to win and do it for each other and appreciate each other and tried to do it right. I'll take care of the Lord's Prayer. I do it right because I can't do it wrong. That's why the whole world is singing this song. Ralph, we're jamming. I want to jam it with you. We're jamming. Marley's and Parsons, first cousins. And I hope you like jamming too. Nobody's jamming that transmission? Ah, what a sting. No. He makes money. I don't. Okay, guys, I'll talk to you later, all right? Peace out.